Welcome to the fight game. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and do us a solid like, share, and comment on this page, Chocolate 108.1. Let's talk about the Lubin Ortiz fight. It was a second round TKO, and now Ortiz is lined up to fight Boots Ennis. Your thoughts on the fight, man?
It was unfortunate because I watched Lubin's career last couple years, and he fights all comers, right? He had that get devastating knockout that he suffered against Jamel Charlo, and then the Fundora fight was second to none. He gave everything he had. It was just he wasn't a better man, and he had won a few fights previously, but against Ortiz, you could just I was waiting to see could he really come back and give the effort, but he just looked older. Ortiz looked like a young lion and came in there and just walked forward. Second round, once he found out what was going on, when I saw Lubin up against the ropes, I knew it was only a matter of time,
Wow.
and I was right.
Wow.
It was only a matter of time, and he just dismantled him. And he got so bad at one point that Ortiz hit Lubin with a couple shots, and he hit him, and he went up against the ropes, and literally he was like a statue. He was stuck on the ropes where he couldn't move because he had dealt with so much pain that the referee just grabbed him and held him because he knew it was over. So yeah, that was very unfortunate. But the timing and time passes, time for some new younger people. And I hope Lubin, if he does decide to fight, he just needs to be at a different level. I'm not sure if he's really on that championship level anymore.
I said this offline is that after that first knockdown, that loss, he hadn't been the same fighter because we watched him as he was coming up. Like this guy has it. But after that knockdown, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it was physical, but he just wasn't the same fighter. And I saw it during the Fandora fight. He's just not that fighter anymore that we saw up and coming.
No, I agree with that. But then when you think about brain damage and what it can mean to a fighter, because the Charlo knockout was devastating.
Yeah,
It was really like a one shot blow, and he went straight down and tried to come back, as you mentioned, training and whatnot. And when you're out of the ring for a while, and you're not used to that type of punishment, especially with a younger guy like that that's hungry and you lost a step, and it just can result in this type of thing.
yeah. Now they're setting up Boots Ennis with Ortiz. Before we get to that, they have another fight, Lopez and Stevenson. It's set for January 31st. I was thinking about this earlier. I know you ain't gonna agree with me on this, and I need to keep watching, keep watching, keep watching. But I'm a little afraid for Stevenson at this particular point. Depending on which Lopez comes to fight, I'm a little afraid. I see Stevenson trying to stay away from him like he did other fights and not trying to get hit with the big shot and not being that aggressive. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to win the fight.
I'll say this, and I can see why you might think that, but I think the one thing that I will say Shakur's favor is the fact that he he's not fighting Tank Davis. Tank Davis has that one shot power. And I think when it comes to the IQ, that definitely Shakur has that IQ. And remember, as you said, we don't know what Teofimo Lopez is going to show up, right?
Right.
This is the same guy too that lost earlier, right? He lost, and Devin Haney took those titles against that opponent when he went overseas. So, what's mind space is Teofimo going to be in?
Yeah.
And the way I'm saying it too, the way that Teofimo lost before, my question is this: has he ever fought anybody like Shakur? Now I know that they've been around each other, been in hammers and stuff like that too. But the one thing Shakur can do is his IQ. He has the ability to make people miss. And I think it's right now, it's 50-50,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say
50-50
that
fight.
too. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have slept on Shakur. Do I think he's gonna knock him out and just become this amazing power puncher? I wouldn't say that, but when it comes to IQ and preparing for a fight, he's right there. He's like a miniature Floyd, and also too, he's in the gym. You know he's sparring with Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
So when you in with the best,
Yeah,
And
true.
like you said, that's the only man that he couldn't do anything with. I mean, he never had anybody stop him, not like knock him out, but put him in a position where he couldn't fight back. So you fighting with the one of the, right now the top and best of the business, and you know they're going to be in the gym
Yeah,
talking about Teofimo. So that doesn't mean anything because he still has to perform. But right now, it's a lot of talking, and we'll see when they get in there. I'm glad that they both finally agreed to it. But yeah, so we're going to have to see. I think it's 50-50 right now.
yeah. Let's go back to Boots and Ortiz, and hopefully that fight comes up pretty soon. There was a fighter, I think it was Roy Jones Jr., who said, "Listen, Boots is about 35 years old, and he really never fought anybody." So a lot of people are picking Ortiz because they're like, after that devastating win, that performance he put on Saturday, it's like Boots Ennis has no business in the ring with this guy. Your thoughts on that?
No, I understand it. And in fact, Oscar De La Hoya was the first person that said if Boots Ennis was to attend the fight with Eddie Hearn, they may not want to sign because they're going to be afraid to see what happens.
Right.
I've been on the fence a little bit with Boots as to whether or not what he really wanted to do. To his credit, I'm gonna give it to him. Not only does he want to fight him, he showed up. And when Virgil Ortiz, after the fight, told him to come on in to the ring, he went in there and he literally was in his face. And he said, "Well, I know you used for a tune-up, dude. Like, I don't need no tune-up." He said, "Look, I want you next." He said, y'all been running your mouth." And Roger Ortiz got mad. He said, "You, your dad, your
Yeah.
promoter, everybody running your mouth. I told you what I'm here for. I want to prove I'm the best at 154. And I'm ready. I don't need no tune-up right now." But now what we're finding out is we're hearing a little stuff on the backside that Ortiz's promoter is trying to say, "Hey, why don't you fight this guy and I'll fight this guy," right? To the factor that maybe there should be a tune-up where Ortiz will fight Earl Spence Jr., right?
Now he retired last week. And that's what I want
Yeah,
to see.
but he was there at the fight, seeing whatever. Maybe they're just running smoke, and then they want Boost to fight Jamel Charlo. Well, let's do this first. But Boost said, "Nah, You asked for it. Sometimes you have to. We gonna cash this check. You wrote this check. I want to cash it now. What are we waiting on?" And they're talking about let's fight April or March. Boots is like, "Nah, y'all been saying I'm not ready." Boots said in front of everybody, "I'm gonna whoop your." he, told, he said, "You always talking. You say you want it, you about to get it." So kudos to Boots. As we said, we've been waiting on him. Anytime he stepped into the ring,
Yeah.
you've been running it. Here I am. No, what we waiting on? When he said that, I was like, Boots mean business, and he ain't not afraid. He goes, "I'm gonna whoop you up."
That's what we like to hear. Hopefully it happens
I
because I'm
think it
tired of
will.
you guys running around. Not
I say this, yeah, but I don't think if it don't happen right away, and it won't be Boots.
right.
Boots for he. In fact, Boots said, "Eddie Hearn, where the paper at? We can sign this right now." And apparently, they've been negotiating, right? And in fact, Eddie Hearn was talking, and Boots said, "All right, sign the paper. You want me to sign another one? What would?"
Yeah. I want to see after a fight, fighters like this, they bring like a little desk and a little and just sign it right there, right on the spot, right.
That's what Boots said.
Yeah,
Boots Ennis said, "Look, we already signed for the fight. They said we've been negotiating, and then this promoter said whatever. Now they talk about a tune up." He said, "I don't need a tune up," and he literally said, "You want me? What? You got another paper for me to sign? Because
yeah,
I'll sign whatever you want me to sign. I'm coming for this dude," which I love because I was one of them to say, "Boots, when you gonna fight somebody?"
yeah.
And that dude's like, "I came up here on my own dime." He said, "I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't no special flight or none of that shit. I had to get on a special flight to get here on time because there were some delays, but I'm right here."
Yeah. In the immortal words of Mike Tyson, sign the contract, buddy boy.
That's what he said. "Hey, I came to your home state, your hometown. I'm here. I want that smoke. I am so proud of Boots because Everybody that I know of has been talking about, as you mentioned, Roy Jones Jr. said he ain't fought nobody. We ain't got to worry about that now. Let's get it. Now,
Yeah.
hopefully, that's just one of many fights that we need to see.
Should Earl Spence? I know you are tired last week. Should he even fight again? To be honest with you,
I hope not.
me too.
Uh,
Me too.
I know the money might be over the top, but what we've seen from him being out of the ring, the last time we saw him against Crawford, it's been a long time. And he's actually, I think he suffered different different levels of damage
Yeah.
from the car accidents to whatnot, not the same fighter. I would not want to see him fight Virgil Ortiz because it might be a similar situation like it was for Lubin.
Uber, yeah.
He's slow, he's just not been in the ring. And just because you're sparring, that's a whole different level. But I'm interested in. I hope he does not come back at all. But I'm looking forward to the Boots in his fight with Ortiz simply because of the fact that I think Ortiz is a straightforward fighter. He comes forward, he says, "Oh, I can box." He's trying to come and knock your head off.
Yeah.
And I think Boots Ennis is like, I can do whatever you want me to do. I love the contrast in styles. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. It's time. It's overdue. And please quit throwing these corny tune-ups at us. The man told you what he wanted to do. Quit trying to add something else on it unless you're scared. Unless you're scared. We've been waiting on this fight. Let's let it happen, please. Please let it happen. The fans deserve it. Next. Not, well, let me see what's going on over here. No, I've always wanted to fight Earl Spence Jr. Well, you can fight him afterwards. Take this L then.
So before we get out of here, Eubank and Ben too. What are your thoughts on that fight?
That's going to be a monster matchup because Eubanks won the first one. And you think about the revenge factor, but is he going to change up anything in that regard? The other thing here too is Conor Ben has changed trainers.
Bomac.
You with Bomac now. So Bomac is like, I don't know what you was doing before. You could just tell. They showed a little footage of him in the training. They got to a point where he was hitting the body with big shots. And Bomac literally told him, he said, you got to do better than this. You got to raise your game up. You got to hit with force. And he says, my sister hit harder than that. So he in his face, bro. It's like, so maybe that's the switch that needs to be turned on for Conor Ben to be able to turn up the energy while still being in a good place as far as being able to deliver. But again, I think UX is looking like, hey, I got him the first time, I get him the second time. But I think it's going to take a special effort for Ben to get this win. But I think with somebody like Bomac, the way that they masterfully put together an effort versus Canelo with Crawford, might be able to do the same thing on this level.
Any other boxing news?
No, just get ready. We're not going to talk about it this week, but the November 22nd card is going to be amazing. We're going to really dive into that next week. Looking forward to some great cards and getting to see the homie from Ohio, Abdullah Mason, Brian Norman Jr. It's a lot of folks on that card. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and it's a fight day.